Alrighty, party peoples of the interwebs, Viva Fry, former Montreal litigator turned current Florida rumbler, quite clearly not in Florida. I'm actually in Georgia, right in front of a beautiful little pond where we are catching bluegills by the dozen. I'm at an event called A Soldier's Journey Home, which is actually a charitable organization that builds a forever home for a disabled veteran. And what's amazing is they put the house up from foundation to keys in hand within 2 weeks, specially accommodated to the veterans' needs. And it's an amazing thing to see how efficiently the community can come together and build a home in 2 weeks' time. Tomorrow is the ribbon cutting event that I'm going to document, do a walkthrough. It's an amazing thing, A Soldier's Journey Home. They have a website, check it out. They do great work, and a member of our vivabarneslaw.locals.com community is one of the volunteers, the carpenters. He did the cabinetry, and it's beautiful. Ginger Ninja, massive shout out to you, doing beautiful, beautiful stuff. The news of the day, because there's a lot of news of the day, but we're gonna focus on one piece of news today. Some silver lining in the Alex Jones malicious persecution lawfare. Now, I say Alex Jones is top 3 people on earth who has been the victim of lawfare, persecution, silencing, deplatforming. The top 3, offhand, I'm going with Donald John Trump, Alex Jones, and Tommy Robinson. I refer to Tommy Robinson as the Alex Jones of the UK. AJ was the original. This thing is tickling my arm. Alex Jones was the original. Malicious persecution, prosecution to shut him down, shut him up. It all started after Donald Trump got elected, and some hypothesized that the Hillary Clinton war machine said, we're gonna go snuff that pleb out, and weaponized every aspect of the law machine, intelligence machine against Alex Jones. The silver lining news of the day, the bright lining, the good news. In the land of tyranny, justice is merely the potential for the cessation of the tyranny. Alex Jones was up before the Texas Court of Appeals yesterday, appealing the outrageous punitive damages award that was issued in the Texas Sandy Hook plaintiff defamation case. Some people confound the two cases. There is the Connecticut intentional infliction of emotional distress, abusive of some commercial practice law that they used to go after Alex Jones, arguing that inaccurate reporting or inaccurate productions led to profits. The Connecticut case is where they got the $1.2 billion judgment. $1.2 billion. They got awards that were outlandish is not even the word. Insane, preposterous, illegitimate, unlawful. The FBI agent who had no family member that was killed on that day got $90 million in damages because some people online were spreading the rumor that he was a crisis actor, he was wearing his uniform wrong, and then they wrongly blamed Alex Jones for it. That was the $1+ billion judgment coming out of Connecticut. In Texas, it was just a cool 50 some odd million dollar judgment, which was $4 million and change in compensatory damages and $45 million in punitive damages, which exceeded the statutory cap of $750,000 by 20-fold or something along those lines. In the Connecticut case, as in the Texas case, there was no trial on the merits. There was no hearing on the merits. There was no evidence presented as to the damages, the defamation. There was no evidence presented as to why this was not violative of the statute of limitations. Why was there no hearing on the merits? Because in both cases, AJ was defaulted into a verdict of liability because of alleged non-compliance with disclosure, deposition, examination obligations. There was never any trial on the merits on either of the two cases. They were defaulted into verdicts of liability, both in Connecticut and then in Texas, and there was never a hearing on the merits. The only trial that anybody saw was on the damages. And I went down to Texas to watch that. In Texas, when they were having jury selection for the trial only on the quantum, because Alex Jones was already defaulted into a liability verdict, he was denied the right, the ability, the freedom to assert his innocence, to maintain that he apologized to the families, to say that he retracted the statements. He was denied all of that. And that what they had was nothing shy of a show trial in the literal sense, because there was a documentary crew filming this as it was going down. And that judge, I think her name is Judge Guerra, knew damn well she was on camera and she was yucking it up for the camera people. So when we say it was a show trial, not even on the merits, but only on the quantum, it was a show trial. When they had jury selection, and I was there for this, they were grooming the jury selection, the jury pool, to see who would be amenable to issuing outlandish, outrageous awards for monetary compensatory punitive damages. So they selected their jury and they had their show trial, and even the people who watched the show trial were like, how the hell was he found guilty? And I'm like, he wasn't found guilty, people. That's why they defaulted him into a liability verdict, because they never would have won on the merits. There were legal issues, statute of limitations, evidentiary issues, journalist free rights, free expression issues. All of it bypassed by the default verdict, and even those who watched the jury trial on the quantum could not believe that Alex Jones was found guilty in the first place. But they groomed their jury selection very well, and the jury came down with like $4 million and change in compensatory damages and $45 million in punitive damages. Why is that relevant? Well, it exceeds the statutory limit cap of $750,000 per claim. And the Judge Guerra, a vindictive, I will weigh my words, allowed it. And Alex Jones appealed it. And yesterday, as at the time of shooting this vlog, they were before an appellate court in Texas who was amenable to hearing this. And the way Bloomberg, the propagandist rag that it is, depicted this, they found a judge who was receptive to Alex Jones's appellate claims, that there was no good reason to defy the statutory limit of $750,000 for the claims, but because of confession through projection, that the reason why they're saying receptive judge listening to Alex Jones is because they had their receptive judge for the trial. They had their receptive jury for the trial, because this was a sham trial. And what's going to happen now, by the way, Alex Jones should succeed on appeal. They should reduce the punitive damages to the statutory limit, because there was no reason to defy it. And what's going to happen then? Well, when Alex Jones had millions and millions of dollars on the table for a settlement for the families, and they turned it down to pursue this claim, some might say that they might have a claim against their lawyers for malpractice. Some might say that they could go after their lawyers who were ultimately never representing their specific interests, but only their political interests, that of the lawyers and of intelligence who were spearheading these claims to shut Alex Jones and shut Alex Jones down and up, even if it meant denying money, good money, millions of dollars that would have been on the table for the plaintiffs. So they might have a lawsuit against their lawyers, and I might happen to know of one lawyer in particular who would be very eager to take up that claim, Robert Barnes from Viva and Barnes, Law for the People, Sunday Night Law Extravaganza, Viva and Barnes, Law for the People. We'll see where it goes. This should be overturned. Everything in the Alex Jones case is a legal travesty. The $1.2 billion verdict out of Connecticut, the $50 million verdict out of Texas, the default into a liability finding defying all court precedent, all legal standards, just default him into guilt because he allegedly did not comply with discovery obligations, which he did, by the way. And even if he didn't, the remedy would not be default into liability. It might be, I don't know, you don't get to defend yourself, but the plaintiffs still have to make their case. This should all be overturned, and justice should be done at the end of the day. And if justice is done to Alex Jones, the plaintiffs in these cases are going to have one hell of a claim against their lawyers for screwing them out of millions and millions of dollars in settlement funds, because the lawyers and whoever was spearheading these claims, which we now believe it was intelligence, no exaggeration, they weren't interested in righting any wrong that had been done to those families. They were interested in politically shutting down and silencing Alex Jones. And by the way, as bad as what Alex Jones ever said was, he apologized for it. It amounted to 16 minutes over 10 years. Alex Jones was in a state where he was questioning everything. And like he said in the deposition that actually led to me meeting Robert Barnes, I was going through a form of psychosis. He had seen enough conspiracy in his 20 plus, 30 plus years on this earth that he might have connected dots that didn't connect. He might have been asking questions that asked him might have been wrong and might have been hurtful. He might have been making statements, claims that were hurtful. At the end of the day, those were words. And hurt feelings actually sort of cover up what actually went down at Sandy Hook. Who was responsible for that? What were the security issues that were not put into place to prevent something like that? And instead of going after the true culprits of that vicious, horrible crime, they go after Alex Jones because he said some mean words that upset the families in the years that followed. Even though all of those theories were already online, and Alex Jones wasn't spreading them or spearheading them, he was merely responding to them or addressing them because they were there and his audience was asking the questions. So that is the vlog. If you like what I do, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm gonna go catch some more fish and enjoy the day, peeps. Peace out. Booyah.